Hey yo, what up though, fellas? Back at it again with another video. Cause we improving every day. Today, man, I want to introduce y'all to a question that y'all should be asking yourselves when it comes to your dating standards, when it comes to really going out there and getting the women that you want. You know what I'm saying? When it really comes down to analyzing who's your type, who's for you. Who are you? You feel me? Being introspective, that's what I like to do. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a dating coach or a dating expert. I just like asking you to look into yourself to see where you can, fix some screws that are loose or, fill some holes or fill in the blanks. That'll help with your dating life. You know what I'm saying? That'll help with your relationships with women. So I want to have y'all be introspective. That means to look inside of yourself. That means to get a perspective that's in you. Who are you from the inside? So you need to be asking yourself, would I date me? Would I date me? That's the question that you need to be asking yourself. Ask yourself, would you date yourself? I know that sounds very general, but we're going to go into depth on why you need to be asking yourself that question. So obviously in this corner of YouTube, we talk a lot about dealing with women, trying to figure out what your type of woman is, trying to decipher between the women that you want and the women that would be best for you. Really figuring out what you want from a woman. You know what I'm saying? If you want anything at all. Some dudes don't really want much of nothing. Some dudes want a whole lot from a woman. That's your personal choice. But that's what we talk about a lot. But one thing we don't talk about a lot is, are your standards realistic as they are right now? Because what we do talk a lot about is how, these women have high standards, which is true sometimes. Some women do have delusional standards, delusions of self-worth at that point in time. Not saying that they can't improve to make those high standards that they have be realistic. I encourage everybody to have high standards if that's what you want to do. But you do have to develop and grow to the point where those standards are realistic for you to have. When we have to ask those same questions to ourselves. So I'm asking y'all as men to ask yourself, are your standards realistic or are they delusional? Is your personal view of self-worth realistic or is it delusional? Would you date yourself? If you were the woman of your type, whatever that is, you know what I'm saying? Whatever your type of woman is, whether she black or, she light skin or dark skin, she got kinky hair, she got curly hair, she got in between, hazel eyes, whatever the case is, curvy, slim, she goofy and funny, or she kind of quiet and timid, whatever the case is, dog. If you were your type of woman, would you date you? And be realistic about it too. Don't try to make up stuff. Don't try to, throw yourself a sales pitch. Be real. If you was walking up and down the sidewalk, or you was walking into the library or a Starbucks or walking around a Target, and you were the woman of your type, and you saw yourself from a distance or even up close, first, would you look at yourself and say, wow, that's an upstanding looking man? Would you say that you were an upstanding looking man? A man who carries himself with respect and dignity? A man who possesses some sort of power? A man who possesses some sort of ability to inspire and encourage and create, produce? Would you look at yourself from a distance or up close and say, that's a man that looks like he has some kind of value? You feel me? Ask yourself these questions. Those are the superficial questions. How do you look? How do you leave the crib? Would your type of woman be vibing with your aesthetic? You know what I'm saying? If I walk around in, a Barney costume, the women of my type are not gonna mess with that. I already know that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna walk around in a Barney costume. Now, what I'm not saying is to dress and make yourself up according to what women are gonna like. But what I am saying is analyze who you are, analyze the way you like to dress and the way you like to leave the house. And then analyze your standards. Do they match? Or do they not level out? Is it not a balance? You know what I'm saying? I know some guys who leave the crib in suits or just dressed up every day on a regular basis, whether they going to the store, whether they going to work. You know what I'm saying? They like to look professional all the time, so they're going to attract a certain type of woman. I don't look professional all the time. You know, it's a time and a place. I might go out with a V-neck and some plaid dress pants and some, my Johnston Murphys or Allen Edmonds shoes. But, excuse me, a lot of the times I'm just going out, some track pants, some clean, nice sneakers, nothing crazy looking, a nice fitted shirt, maybe some tailored jeans, depending on where I'm going. You know what I'm saying? A nice hat, nice coat, whatever the case. I'm gonna always look presentable, but I'm not always gonna look professional. So I know doing that, I'm not gonna attract a certain type of woman. Now, luckily for me, that type of woman who may be attracted to a dude who's dressed professionally all the time, that's not really my type of woman. So that's good for me. But if it was, then there'd be an issue. There'd be a conflict. I would need to have some kind of balance. Secondly, you want to look into you. So if you were the woman of your type and you saw you from up close and y'all started having a conversation, would you enjoy conversation with yourself? That's question number 2. Would you enjoy conversation with yourself? Would you be conversing with yourself and say, wow, this is an intellectual man. This is a charismatic man. This man, he knows things. He knows how to communicate. He knows how to get his message across. He's smooth. He's got some humor to him. But he's not a pushover. He still has that wall that I know not to try and climb over. He still has that line that I know I shouldn't cross. He still has that boundary that projects itself through his voice, but he can still maintain the smoothness, the humor, the wit, the intellect, the charisma, the enthusiasm. If you were talking to yourself, what would the conversation be like? Would you want to learn more of yourself after you left? You know what I'm saying? Or if you were out on a date with yourself, what would you learn? What would you gain? What kind of new insight would you get from yourself? What would you learn from yourself? Or would you just leave not having learned anything, not having heard anything that you haven't heard before? Would you just leave thinking like, wow, he just like any other dude I've been out with? He just like most dudes out here. You need to ask yourself these questions, because once you can answer them, then you can work on building yourself up. You know what I'm saying? So if you know your conversation skills are not up to par, you don't have engaging conversation topics, you don't know how to break down something that she may never heard before, you don't know how to teach her about maybe new perspectives that she could look at certain things from different angles. If you know you don't have a sense of humor, or you don't know how to implement that humor in your conversation, if you know you don't have any sort of sense of wit, or being able to think off the fly, if you know your voice is boring and monotonous, if you know you don't have any charisma, if you know you don't have any talking points that you could talk about with enthusiasm, something that's going to gain her interest, then you need to look at that. Or if you were the chick of your type and you saw yourself, you wouldn't like the way you looked, because you don't go out in a way that's going to attract the type of woman that you think you want to attract. So this will tell you 2 things. This will tell you, 1, if your standards are not matching where you are. I'm not telling you to change your standards. If your standards are high, keep them high. But you want to build yourself up so that those standards can work for you. It's going to tell you that. And it's also going to tell you, maybe the women who I think I want are not the women who are best for me. Maybe if I broaden my horizon a little bit, who I am will vibe better with a certain kind of woman. Maybe a woman who I've been overlooking or not paying as much attention to, or, haven't been given the time of day to. So to tell you them 2 things. So ask yourself that question. Would you date yourself? Would you like your appearance? Would you like your conversation? If you were the woman of your type, if the answer is truthfully yes, then you good. Just keep on working. If the answer is, You know, I fill in some of these blanks, but some of these blanks I don't fill out. You know what I'm saying? Like with some of these probably, with some of these probably not. Well, then good, keep on working. If the answer is no, keep on working. Start self-reflecting. Start reflecting on the women you think you really want to be with, and start thinking about the women who may be best for you. Start deciphering between the women who you're just highly attracted to physically and the women who you will be attracted to on a physical and a mental level. You know, building a connection with. You understand what I'm saying? So that's the topic for today, man. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Peace.